Welcome back to another tutorial. So today we are going to make fire and destruct this house. So for this, let's just create fire. So let me just create here a simple sphere. You can use any object. So just use sphere and just place at this side of this house. You can always check where it is. It's here. We need polygon and like this, and just place here somewhere around here, this area. Like this. Okay. Now we need to create our source for fire. So for this, let me just use pyro source. And for this, let me just change here from fuel to smoke, then just go to fuel. So it will create all the attributes. Now let's add velocity, point velocity, and we need in the positive x direction. So just add x, positive x direction, just 10. So it will emit in this direction, and then rasterize this. And just add all the attributes, which is density, temperature, velocity, and fuel, and just normalize this. And after that, just use null object. So this will be your pyro source. Then add dop network to create our fire. So just come here, just create smoke object, or you can use pyro object also. Use pyro solver. Okay, and size we are going to use around 40 by, I think 40 and 40, and just add this to 20, so it will be at the ground. Division is 0.2 good. We will change this further when we are going to detail this property. Then we need source, so we are going to use volume. Add here. Change this to first context, and I'm going to use source fuel. Will generate all the attributes, and in here just adjust some values, which is like time scale and all that. So let's just check how it's coming. And we need one more thing, which is gas dynamic resize. Just add here, sorry, here, and again change the values of these paddings. So for this, I just use 40 40 by 40. Okay, now if we just simulate this, you can see it is doing some simulation here. Some smoke is coming, see. And always save the values file, because it's a very big file and things are changing very fast. So next we need to adjust some values here. So just increase time scale by 4. I don't want that much buoyancy, and in combustion just leave it as it is. And shape, I think I used turbulence and some shredding, and in turbulence I think I used some values here. So let me just copy my values from my original file, which is this one. So I used 4.1.5 for my basic. So this is how much temperature is diffused. I don't want that much diffusion, and buoyancy I want very low. And in my combustion section I change this burn rate, fuel efficiency and this, so that it will be more sharper fire rather than expanding fire. So this will be I'm using burn rate 0.5, then fuel efficiency I'm using 0.3, means fuel will be burned longer because it's inefficiency. And the gas release I am going to lower this to 10, so it will not expand that much. And in shape section I used 0.1, 0.1 and 0.2. We don't want that much shredding. And for turbulence I used only 4 here for turbulent value. And we'll just check here again. Now you can see it's coming like this. So if you want to see how it's coming, you can always go back to this node and apply volume visualizer so that you can see how it's coming. So let me just go back and apply this. So just apply here .io to import this. And just apply dope network. And dope node, just use this node. And I think this is dope network. And use smoke object, and here use pyro. Okay, now you can see it is coming here. Okay, for the fire and other things, just apply volume visualizer so that you can see how it's coming. So in volume visualizer, just use density field. We need like density, and in emission you can use temperature, and color also use temperature. Sorry, not temperature. This just use black body and use temperature. And if you increase this, you can see how it's like coming. So let me just put one value here, and if you want like to see details of it, just add this distant light in your scene. Okay, just now you can actually visualize the smoke or and all that things. See, now you can see. Okay, so these are like basic settings which I used, and now let's go to the settings for details of this, how it's like turning and other values. So for this I'm using gas disturbance, this one. Okay, and in here I'm using some of the values here. So let me just put my values, which is 4 and 50. So is 4, apply this, and this one is 50. So it will like add further details to this. And just come back here and just simulate this. And always remember I am using very low values here, so it will be like not that much of detail, but when you increase this value you get the much finer details. Okay, now you can see this one. So let me just adjust some values here. So if I copy this value and apply it to my other settings, which is like this point separation and this volume rasterize, and just reset this simulation. Okay, now if I like simulate this, you get your like simulations. And I think velocity is little lower or not that much high. See, so we can always increase the velocity because I am adding this value here. You can always add some curl also. In my original case, if I look here, my original scenario, I using like -20 and some curl velocity also. So you can always add this. And just add curl velocities. And this pulse duration and some swirl size, just lower this some values. Okay, now if we look here, you get much stronger values. Okay, now you can see it's like coming like this. Because of I am using higher values, so that's why it's not coming here. And we want to like collide to this geometry. So for this we need to do some caching for the smoke or fire. then we need to recache it for the interaction. Or if you want like bi-directional behavior, like fire and RBD both interact, then you need to like change your simulation here. You need to change everything here to work, but I think this process is simple. If you want bi-directional behavior, you need to like adjust some values and you get your behavior. So let me just copy this value, because I think in my case I used just copy this value. So that the caches will align, otherwise caches won't align. And in my case velocity is negative, so it will simulate from this side, because in my original case I used around this size. And let me just lower some settings here. I think height, we don't need that much height, so let me just cut to 20, just go for 10. And you need to like cache out this simulation so that we can interact this with our house. So just we don't need that much higher quality, you can simulate it on 0.1 values. Okay, so just go here and just lower these values to 1, and in advance you can just increase the substeps. In my case I've used 5x5. Okay, and just cache out this. Okay, so you get your detailed smoke result. So I'm not going to simulate for this. Let's just copy my original cache file here so that it will be much more faster. So let me just copy my original cache for this particular scenario. So if I come here and this one, so this is my like original cache file which I have used for this one. So if I just disable simulation, you can see I simulated on 0.1 or I think 0.05 values. So you have like something like this. It's just like behave like a flamethrower. See, it's like this. Now we need to transfer its velocity to our RBD bullet solver so that we can do exploding based on this fire. So for this we need to like extract the velocity of this simulation and transfer it to this RBD solver. So for that we need to adjust some values, some properties. So just we need to like apply this some here, like just apply this points from volume, and we don't need that much higher values, we need only some small values because we don't need that much details. And then we need to copy this value which is attribute from volume, okay, and we need like one is here and one is here, and we need like we need to define the velocities which we need to. So we need well dot x, and this is our well x, and it's float, and you can just stick this as to 1. Okay, so same, just copy for 3 times so that we have like 3 values for x, y and z. Just again just do same, it's just repetitive process. Same well dot y, well y, and just 1. Again go for then this is well dot z, and we need 1. Now we need to combine this. Okay, so for combining just use attribute copy node. So just come here, copy, in here whichever attribute we want to copy, we just come here and to copy this value, just disable this is well. Again attribute copy, here, and we don't need this one, we need well z. So now if we look in its information, we have this one well x, well y, well z. Now we need to combine this to form a new velocity which is v. So for that just use this simple expression, just copy here, attribute wrangle, and we need to just define this at v dot x equal to at well x semicolon. Just like this, whatever you write above you need to just copy here, we need to just define this. So again wheel dot y, this is at well y, and this is at v dot z equal to well z. Okay, now if we look here, we get our this velocity attribute v, this one. Now we need to delete this attribute because we don't want that. So delete, delete. So just look here, whichever this we want to delete, x, y and z. So now we are left with velocity. So this will be our velocity. Okay, so just add here null object. So we have a well out v. Okay, now we have our velocity. Now we need to transfer this to this RBD solver. So for this we need to go inside this, and here we need to use SOP solver. Okay, so if we go for SOP solver, this one, and just connect this, open this, you get your DOP network. If I look here, my original section, so you get SOP solver, and we need just velocity, and we need to transfer this. So again, just come here, we need to use object merge, and point it to that velocity which we have created. So if we go here and look for velocity, it will be in the upper, this one. Okay, now we need to transfer. So just come here, and we need to transfer only velocity. Conditions, just lower this value. So distance, I think I used very low values, which is 2 and 5. If you want tighter simulation, just lower this value. Or just leave whatever it is, just lower this distance value, and we don't want to blend this, and I think that's enough. And just for the sake of simplicity, just add null object. Okay, now if you go back here and again one more step, okay, and just enable this here. So okay, just save this file because it's taking lot of caches from this simulation and this simulation. So if we simulate this, now you can see it's affecting this smoke is affecting, or our fire is affecting this body. You can see like this, see it's like exploding this. So what you need to do, you need to cache out this RBD simulation also based on this fire. Okay, so for this, let me just cache out or load my cache which is I used. So let me just copy a single node which I used, which is this one. So please copy this. Okay, so let me just connect everything to right place. Okay, so if you look here, I have like this simulation which is like blowing this house. See, okay, now you can see it's like blowing this house. And after that, what we need to do, we need to like interact this fire with this RBD. So we need to again put this cache file into our fire simulation so that we can interact this with our geometry. So for this, what you need to do, you need to add a collision geometry so that you get to your collision files. So let me just add a collision here. So just here, put anywhere here, and keep in mind that it will take longer time to simulate for fire compared to this, because now it's going to take care of this cache, then it will have to convert to VDB, then it have to interact with it. so it's going to take longer time. So if your system is not capable enough, make sure you lower the settings for fire, otherwise it will not be able to cache out. So let me just go for collision source and just apply this here. Okay, now if you look here, and we need to see, already my system is lagging, so just use null. So this will be our collision object, and we need for out collision volume, because it's create volume. So if you look here, you get this kind of look, and if you come here and the volume section, just lower these values so that you get your detailed result. In my scenario, I've used like 0.05 or I think 0.03 to get much more detail of the shapes. See, now it's taking time, and sometime if it doesn't get proper volume, you just use VDB reshape node, this one. It will like expand this a little bit, so you get your proper, or just lower this value up to when it's like come properly. I think 0.8 is enough. Okay, and for our scenario, let me just use for 0.1. Okay. We are not going to do that, otherwise it will take much more longer time to simulate this. Okay, so let me just use 0.05, and now we go to our fire simulation settings. See, now it's taking much more longer time, so just come to fire simulation and use static object, which is static object. We need static solver, and we need merge. Merge here, and always remember static solver or static object should be first in the line, then next is pyro, otherwise it will not behave. So just use SOAP path, which is our again collision, this one, and it will not show here because it's in my simulation I used like from 18th frame, so it will show up after 18th frame. And in proxy volume, again use volume and just change this division size to max size to size. Let's remove by size and just use the same values. So we'll have, and just use volume sample mode, and in bullet data you can check here, just change this to concave. Okay, I think it's enough. added, and just because our geometry is changing, so just use deforming geometry, so it will have your geometry come in here, and now it will simulate for that. For this I used like different dope copy, so that these two will be different, so that if I wanted to, I can change my simulation to this one. So I am rendering from this other, which is for purpose. So let me just load my cache, which is I've used for rendering. So if I just copy this node, copy my cache, okay, I just disable this. Now if I enable my scenarios, like this is my RBD simulation and this is my fire. Okay, you can just go to some frame like 68 or something, so you get your okay, not this one, this one. Okay, now you can see I have this fire, and similarly if I go to here RBD, you get this. Okay, so if I like template this and enable this, always render these two in different geometry nodes. See, now it's like interacting with this, so you will get your fire resultant. So for rendering this, I always like copy this. You can copy this and come here, just make another geometry for your fire, so it will be much more organized, and just paste here. See, now you get like this is our house and this is our fire. See, now you get both the results in here. See, and to fill these like these kind of gaps, just use dust particles or dust smoke to generate this. You can create by using particle or anything else, so that will be your. If you guys need to know how do I created the dust for this, you can just comment it. I will make this, because this tutorial is getting long, so I'll just finish here and you can come up to this and try to make your simulation. And goodbye, and we will see you in next tutorial.